Hello, everyone. Welcome to a manufacturing demonstration by LabCon, manufacturing small devices that make a big difference. I'm your host, Samantha Eves, and I'm a fellow at the Sonoma County Economic Development Board. We encourage you to comment and ask questions. We will be answering them throughout the activity. Jim Hatt from LabCon is on the Zoom. Jim, why don't you tell us a little bit about LabCon, yourself, and what we're going to see today?
Hi, everybody. LabCon is in Petaluma, California, Lakeville Highway, and we manufacture between 5 and 6 million pieces a day of labware. The name LabCon stands for laboratory convenience. We try to make it convenient for laboratory technicians or scientists to do their work. And because of the COVID virus, our business is crazy busy. We are booking 200 to 300% of our normal business because of the virus. So LabCon has been here in Marin, Sonoma County since 1959, and we employ about 235 people.
And what about yourself? How did you find yourself getting into this industry?
I've always been in manufacturing for 40 years. I came to LabCon as part of a group to implement the first computerized systems in 1992. So computers play a big part in tracking everything that we make, and that was my point of excellence. That's why they hired me. I became president after I was here for 3 years, and I've been the president of LabCon since 1997.
Oh, that's incredible. All right, without further ado, we're going to start the video. All right. Here we go. And just feel free to ask questions right in that chat via Zoom or via YouTube.
And I'll talk a little bit while the video is going on. This is a video of the factory right here. This factory runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, about 360 days a year. We close for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the 4th of July, and that's about it. We're making centrifuge tubes on this machine right here. These centrifuge tubes ordinarily would just be used for separating blood, but now they're using COVID testing. So we can sell as many as we can make.
Now, Jim, how many people do you have on the floor during the day and how many during the night?
We have roughly 80 people can run the factory during the day, and at nighttime it goes down to 35 to 40 people. So in the building there's roughly 80, but there's people putting molds in machines and inspecting product, and there's extra people during the daytime. These are pipette tips, and they're our primary products. We make about 4 million pipette tips a day. That's one of the smaller ones in my hand right there. That one in my hand would be picked up by a robot for vaccine development because of the virus.
And how are they used in virus testing?
They're used primarily if you're doing PCR work. You need to get some blood from somebody into a well plate. So they're liquid transfer devices, the pipette tips, whereas the tubes are used with nasal swabs if you're getting swabbed to go to a lab and be tested. You see here people putting filters in tips because the CDC has mandated that all the pipette tips have filters inside for COVID testing. So that's become a new wrinkle to our business.
Now, how much do one of these machines cost?
You're looking at about $350,000 for a combination of the machine and the robot and the automation next to it. So it's a capital intensive business. In the factory, there's about $40 to $45 million worth of equipment running.
Wow, that's a pretty penny.
A lot of money.
All right.
And we're in the tool room here looking at the work center where people repair and build molds. The molds are made out of stainless steel and are equal to a car engine. They're expected to last 20 to 25 years. And that's a 16 cavity mold right there. And that's one of the machines we use for cutting the steel. And our scientist here is demonstrating pipetting into microcentrifuge tubes. The instrument in his hand costs roughly $100 to $150. And the pipette tip, in this case, costs 3 cents or something. So it's a safety device. Actually, that one's got a filter in it, so it costs more than 3 cents.
Now, does LabCon design these machines, the ones that we previously saw?
We buy the molding machines, but we design and build the molds and the automation to package the equipment.
And I remember you mentioned that you actually bought some machinery local to Sonoma County. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we our measuring equipment comes from a company called Microview up in Windsor, California. They've been a great partner in helping us develop their machines modified to do the work that we need done, which is measuring, accurately measuring small pieces of plastic.
All right, let's go back to the video. All righty. And now we're back on the floor.
So we're walking towards our newest and biggest machine, which produces 32 parts every 6 or 7 seconds. And I've just asked the guy to come over and start it up for us. The molding machine was made in Switzerland and the mold was made in Switzerland. The automation behind it is a combination of our work and a company in Germany's work. It's a $1.5 million assembly line.
And can you tell us a little bit about the people working on the machine? What kind of qualifications they might need?
Some of them have a military background. They were technicians in the military. Some of them have learned on the job. Some of them were car mechanics. We do have technicians that have come from the Santa Rosa JC technician program. And we have employees that have gone through the welding program at the Santa Rosa JC. So the JC offers several tracks to create the skill set necessary to work at LabCon on these machines. And you have to be fairly skilled to work on $1.5 million piece of equipment that's running on a 6-second cycle.
Wow, that's quite impressive and so great that your company hires so many people locally. Can you explain what's happening with the machine right now?
Machine is separating the parts to keep cavity separation. And then the next robot is going to grab 96 pieces from the same cavity and put them in racks. So right now, this robot's just separating the parts to keep cavity identification. In a 32 cavity mold, you're making 32 separate parts, but the consumer is consuming 96 parts out of the same cavity, so they're all identical to each other. This robot's picking up the 96, putting them in a tray of plastic right there. And then the next robot is going to pick up the 96 and put them into a stack for packaging.
All right. So I see right here that there are several tiny little molds. Can you tell me why you use the individual molds as opposed to one big mold?
It's so much money. If you have a big mold, this mold that's working right now, the 32 cavity mold, was $250,000. Often people ask us, why don't you just build a 200 cavity mold? Well, a 100 cavity mold would require about a $5 million assembly line. And if any component of that broke, you'd have $5 million sitting idle while you're trying to get it back up. So it gives us a lot of flexibility. We also ship to 57 countries around the world, and some customers need different configurations of the product, and having smaller machines allows us to build different configurations at the same time.
All right, I'm going to continue the video. And can you tell us what job does the guy in the blue have that is running the machine? What is his title?
He's a molder, and he controls the molding machine. He puts the mold in, sets it up, gets it running, dials the quality in. But he actually, in the daytime when we're putting molds in and out, there's about 4 guys like him. At nighttime, there's only one person like him running 70 machines, because we don't put molds in and out at night. We just put the molds in and out during the daytime. And this mold in this machine will run consistently. He stopped it to clean it before this video to make sure everything was perfect. But this mold will run 24/7. This operation will run 24/7.
And what happens if something breaks or, there's some sort of malfunction?
Yeah, it's a different set of technicians if the automation breaks. That guy right there, the second guy in the blue, Robert, he is the automation technician in this case, and they're looking to make sure that that robot is doing everything it's supposed to do. And if it's not, he would be dialing it in, he would be fixing it, even getting down to the program level and changing the program on the machine.
And can you tell us about the sterilization process for the pipettes?
Yeah, that's a good question. So about 50% of what we make has to be sold sterile. And we have a sterilizer next door here in Petaluma at the old dishwasher factory is where the new sterilizer factory is. And that sterilizer uses a beam, high energy electricity to go through the product, accelerate the particles, and kill any bacteria. So we sell our product sterile 10⁻⁶, which is a medical grade sterile product. I don't know if you've ever noticed when you cut your finger trying to open a Band-Aid, it's hard to open the Band-Aid. And the reason it is the packaging on that Band-Aid is to keep it sterile until it goes on your hand. So the ball game for us is not just making the product, but packaging it so it keeps its sterility until it gets to the customer.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And quite the technology, right? So you said that you don't even take them out of the box to sterilize them?
No, they're being
Wow.
right through the cardboard, right through the box, right through the plastic wrapping, accelerates the particles and creates the sterility for that product. And LabCon is the largest consumer of sterilization in Northern California. So we are big in the sterilization business.
Makes you proud to be living in Sonoma County, huh?
I'm proud of LabCon, and I'm proud that it's in Sonoma County. The company was engineered to be here long after I'm gone. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, and quite the legacy to leave behind. So we have finished our video and we're now in the strict Q&A portion. Please feel free to just keep dropping those comments and questions down in the YouTube or Zoom. All right. And how about we talk a little bit more about the actual lab at LabCon? I know we saw the scientist pipette. Can you tell us a little bit about those types of jobs and other jobs at LabCon that aren't strictly manufacturing?
Of course, we need accounting people, we need engineers, we need scientists, as the guy in the lab is a scientist. We need people with strong spreadsheet skills. I always tell students whenever I have a chance, refine your spreadsheet skills. You need to be Excel experts because we look for that. That's a big skill set they have here. The scientist is doing testing for RNAs and DNAs, pyrogens, heavy metal testing. Our product is medical, so we have to be careful not to have any effect on the experiments that the scientists are doing. So he needs to make sure that everything is neutral and that we are not changing an experiment.
All right, so we're getting some questions in. All right. I know you mentioned this a bit in the beginning, but can you tell us again about when the company was founded and what your area of experience is?
Of course. The company was founded in 1959 in Sausalito, California, which sounds crazy. But Sausalito actually had a lot of industrial buildings at one time because of World War II. They were working on ships down there. And the company moved to San Rafael first, and then we moved to Petaluma in 2004. I myself have a background in computers, but also my degree is in sociology. And we have 230 people. So part of the deal is technical and part of the deal is people. And you have to work with people and keep people happy, make sure people enjoy their jobs. We have very, very low turnover, which is really important because training new people takes a lot of time.
Wow, that is incredible. And I feel like in a college atmosphere that normally pushes STEM only degrees, the fact that you have a sociology degree is pretty fantastic because you can really do a diverse range of things depending on the degree you get.
We need people to publish literature pieces. We need graphic designers. We need salespeople. We need all kinds of people with all kinds of degrees and non-degrees. You had a question on the screen about, I'd say only 50% of our employees have a college degree. 50% are hands-on people. Some of these people are great at fixing their cars on weekends. They're great at building and fixing their homes, and they enjoy using their hands as well as their brains. So there's a lot of people here without college degrees. We have a lot of people here with degrees from Santa Rosa JC and 2-year degrees.
Oh, that's so great to hear that you have such a diverse background of people working at your company. All right.
Is LabCon hiring? Yes. We have, because of COVID, we're not hiring wildly. Because of COVID, we don't want to bring massive numbers of people into the building. People are nervous about that. So we're hiring roughly 2 people a week. And we have signs on the front of the building. We just hired an engineer yesterday. We hire production people all the time. We need more technicians right now. We have a lot of openings right now. Our sales, because of COVID, were 250% over the previous month over month. We are inundated with orders. We'd love to hire more people, but it's going to be a controlled hiring. It's not going to be off the charts crazy right now.
Can you talk a little bit more about the precautions LabCon is taking in its operations due to COVID?
Yeah, that's a great question. We hired a lot more janitorial staff. The employees working in production have always worn hats and smocks and masks and gloves. And we have very little, and they wash down their work surfaces with alcohol twice a day. That was before COVID. A lot of our extra preparations have to do with airflow and with the common areas, the lunchrooms, the bathrooms, the doors going in and out. We've put a lot of things in place to try and minimize people's exposure in those areas.
That's great that you're being so careful. Evidently, we have some really excited high school students in the audience, and they want to know, do you have internships, and what is the minimum age you would hire at?
The minimum age we hire at is 18, unfortunately. As far as internships, historically, we do have internships in the summer particularly. I don't know if we will have internships this year. It depends. This year, the summer is already over, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with the COVID virus. We don't want to expose people, and we don't want to be exposed. So we may take 1 intern or 2 interns, but we do have interns here. To work in production, though, you need to be 18 years old because of the machinery.
And when you are offering internships, what career focus is that normally for?
I find the strongest internships we can offer would be in the lab. It wouldn't be an 8-hour day, but it would be a 2 or 4-hour day. Our scientist was a professor at Berkeley and at San Francisco State, so he is a teacher who happens to be working in a lab now. It's his own lab, so he's an excellent teacher. We also look for young people going into engineering, and in general, we try to give people a quality. If you come in as an intern, you just don't do one thing. We want you to move around and try several things and get some broad-based experience.
That's great. And so you said that you do hire like all majors across the board, but what in college, as I'm sure that some of the high school students are thinking about what they're going to study in college, what would you recommend?
Honestly, I recommend you learn whatever a broad path of stuff. I know the engineers, our best engineers are really good at communicating, even though they're really good engineers. They're really good on the keyboard. They're really good on Excel. You need to have two of our engineers speak fluent Spanish. I think language skills, computer skills, and then whatever your discipline is on top of that. But get a well-rounded education, and you'll have a lot of possibilities in your lifetime.
I can personally attest that Excel skills really do come in handy in the workforce. I am not in manufacturing myself, but I use Excel every single day. So I definitely recommend, no matter what career you're thinking about pursuing, strengthening those Microsoft Excel skills.
Right.
And if you're interested in hearing more about scientists, the lab tech at LabCon, Scott Weitz, has an interview on ctesonomacounty.org/career exploration. So you can check out his video as well if you're a little more curious about the science side of the manufacturing industry. All right. Okay, I think that we are going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for attending our last Manufacturing Month activity. Thank you to Jim Happ for being here. Thank you to our sponsors and collaborators, CTE Foundation, Sonoma Economic Development Board, Sonoma County Office of Education, and Meta. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want more content like this video. All past and future activities will be on ctesonomacounty.org.